On today's show, the Tornadoes rewrite the record books in their season opener. The NFL season kicked off last night, and the U.S. men's national team faced South Korea this weekend. Plus, that and more coming up right now on Inside the Game.
Welcome to Inside the Game on the National Soccer Network. Now, here are your hosts, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wangler.
Good morning and happy Friday. It is Inside the Game. It is episode number 152. I'm Jonathan Turner. That's Nate Wangler, our producer Ryan Glinsky here in our Shelby Township studios here in Michigan. And Nate, good morning to you, my friend.
Good morning. Yeah, I was going to talk to you guys. I saw kind of our rundown yesterday, or at least we were talking about what we're going to talk about coming into this. A lot of good stuff. Tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow's the day we see what this U.S. men's national team is all about. I'm excited to get back to it, excited to see it. But yes, good morning to you too, JT.
So just before, we kind of go in that 5 minutes leading up to the show. We just kind of sit back, we wait for the countdown. There's no real communication between me and Nate during that time period. And a lot of times I'll just sit here and just kind of unwind a little bit, and I'll maybe pop open TikTok or whatever. And I did. I popped open TikTok here just a moment ago. And something hit my For You page that I've never seen before. And we have to talk about it.
Why do we have to talk about it?
Okay, he decided. That's the decision.
So
Nate, mind you, he was dying laughing.
Oh, I was dying laughing. So I'm not gonna play. I can play the sound. So that's what I'm gonna do. Hopefully people can pick up on it, but we're gonna hear.
So you sharded yourself out in public. What do? You pull out your Shart survival kit. So this one is going to include Oopsie Poopsie disposable undies, a Brown Town tissue pack, some clean booty Shart wipes, and then it also comes with a Shart survival badge. This one says, I survived a Shart attack. I got this one for my brother because unfortunately he does struggle with this stuff a lot. And as his older sister, I just feel like it's my job to make sure that he's okay, no matter where he's at or what he's doing. If you know someone that struggles with sharding themselves, I'm going to link the Shart survival kit down below in this video for you guys. So you sharded yourself out.
I couldn't. I do that.
Smart.
I'm so
Smart. It's smart, man. It's smart.
You gotta have.
Smart.
You gotta have.
I never thought about carrying around an extra pair of undies.
Do you think it's in your doomsday bag? Do you think you take that with you in your doomsday
It
bag?
is now. If it wasn't before, it is now.
The things that you see now on social media, especially when now, of course, we give them the credit, right, to put it on the air. But it was so funny. I'm like, we gotta do that too more often. Maybe we just gotta do the TikTok product of the day or something like that. Like we come across because it's just
TikTok shop.
What is this? Why would we even have this as an option? But anyways, great way to start our show. We've got a great show for you here this morning. So yes, tighten up those underpants. We've got a good one.
Don't shart yourself.
Have an emergency pair of undies. It's a genius idea.
But we do have a good show lined up. We've got a great week lined up next week as well. We've got some really good guests coming your way. We'll announce those later in the show. The U.S. men's national team do start off their September friendlies here tomorrow night on TNT out at Sports Illustrated Stadium in Rutherford, New Jersey, as they take on South Korea. That game kicks off at 5 p.m. We'll dive into that a little bit more here today. We're talking about how excited we are about that and how exciting it will be to see how this team performs here tomorrow and on Tuesday against Japan. We also are going to dive into some record-breaking stuff that happened here this week. When we talk about record-breaking, this is it good or bad is going to be the question I think that we should ask Is this a good record, right, to break?
Depends which one.
Correct, and Ryan's saying it depends on which one, right? Also, some news happening across the pond in non-league soccer action, as they call it there, in the non-professional leagues of the professional leagues over there in Europe. And so we'll dive into that a little bit this morning as well, but a lot to talk about. So don't go anywhere. We come back here from commercial. We'll dive into a lot of things here going around in the United States as well as across the pond. You're watching Inside the Game 152.
Flint City Bucks are Michigan's top soccer franchise with 4 national championships, 9 conference titles, and 15 Great Lakes Division titles. They have produced 107 players for Major League Soccer, and they focus on attracting top talent and shaping soccer's future. Michigan Bucks Academy joins NLS Next new competition tier starting in September of 2025. This offers elevated levels of play and flexibility for high school participation. The Academy will provide premier development, high-performance training, and exposure to scouts through regional tournaments and MLS Next events. For more information on tryouts, training programs, and key updates as we prepare for our first season in MLS Next new tier, visit MichiganBucksAcademy.com.
Welcome back here to Inside the Game as we dive into some soccer news here around the United States. The Tornadoes here in Division III women's soccer rewrite the record books in their season opener. The Brevard College women's soccer team 1-0 beat a team here earlier this week, Alice Lloyd College, by a score of 20-0. This is a new NCAA single game record for goals 20, assists 20, points 60. 20 points, 60 shots, 75, and shots on goal 38. Guys, first things first. Alice, the opposing team, this Alice Lloyd had 0 shots the entire game. So,
is that a record as well?
It might be. I don't know. I mean, probably not though. I feel like that's not probably a record. It might be obviously tied for a record, but yeah, you're sitting here and seeing it is 20 goals being scored in a game. It's unbelievable. There's a player on the team as well that had 4 goals in this game as well. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I guess the question becomes is how many goals is too many, and when do you pump the brakes? We saw this in a high school game. I think last year we saw like 30 goals being scored in a game, right? And that all has to happen in the first half, by the way, people. In high school, there's a mercy rule. So in high school, if someone's scoring 30 goals, it's all happening in the first 40 minutes of the game, right? So this happened in an entire 90-minute game. There's no mercy rule in NCAA. So 11 goals, I believe, scored in the first half, 9 goals scored in the second. And so congratulations to Brevard for obviously getting an NCAA record, but is that a record that you want to have, though, I guess, beating up on a team that clearly does not measure up even close to you?
Yeah,
I'm just asking that question.
I don't know. Do you brag about beating a dead horse? I mean, I don't necessarily brag about that. I mean, I guess if that's something that for the individual athletes, it's cool because I guess once you get to the end of the season, like you almost got, I'm sure some players probably got a whole season's worth of stat padding done in one game. So, I mean, you don't have to really worry about adding anything else to your resume. You did it all in one game. Now, obviously you can build off that. So I guess for the individual players, it's a cool record. It's, I guess, a memory for that team. But yeah, that's exactly my question too. Like, why are we not pumping the brakes? Like, why are we not? I understand. And I even said this earlier this week to someone else I was talking to about, the whole old adage of you don't run up the score. I'm a believer that you play until the final whistle. Like, I do believe that, you should be willing to play your game 100% all the way through from beginning to end. I mean, this is live action. This is a game. Like, we're not going to stop playing our game because we're up by a lot. Like, the final whistle has not sounded yet. However, I do think there is a limit to that. I think when it gets to a certain point to where you're just simply pouring salt on a wound, you're beating a dead horse, maybe it's time to pull back a little bit. I don't know if I would necessarily take any pride as a head coach in beating a team 20-0 because it gets past a certain point to where you're just showing up the other team. You're just rubbing it in. First of all, I don't know why they're on your schedule. I mean, if you know they're that bad, I don't know. But the other thing that I'll say about this, and I don't think there's any shame in having a mercy rule. What I do understand is that if the NCAA implements something like a mercy rule, it's going to take place at every single level. So there's no such thing as, well, Division III decides they're going to have a mercy rule and Division II and I are not going to have, like, that's not how that works. Like, the NCAA is one governing body. They make a decision, hey, we have a mercy rule or we don't have a mercy rule, and then that applies to all the different levels. So in my mind, I don't think there's any shame in having a mercy rule, especially at NCAA Division III. Like, I think that's something that's completely realistic. A lot of these players aren't on scholarship. It's pay to play. They just wanted to continue their athletic career. I don't know who they were playing. I guess I would have to look that up. Maybe it wasn't even a D3 program. Maybe it was an NAIA or an NCCAA because it is non-conference schedule. We're not into conference play quite yet in women's soccer. But I don't think there's any shame in having a mercy rule at a higher league or a higher level than high school. I mean, once you get past a certain point, what are we doing here? We're just stat padding. That's all we're doing. We're stat padding and we're beating a dead horse. I don't think it's classy in this situation. But again, for the individual athletes, cool. I mean, you got a whole season's worth of stuff to put on your resume in one game. So good for you guys, I guess.
To put things in perspective, Alice Lloyd is in the NAIA, and Brevard
it's not
is
Division
in
III,
the USA South Conference of Women's Soccer in Division III. And so Division III, NAIA, right? So that's right where they are. There's no Division IV in college, okay. So it's you go right to the NAIA at that point.
Well, you have NCCAA, but that's,
Sorry?
You have NCCAA, but that's like National Christian Collegiate
Are they considered,
Association.
is NCCAA, is that considered a step above the NAIA?
No,
Madonna, for example,
those are like
university.
Bible college.
Sorry?
Those are like Bible colleges. So those are like the really little Bible colleges that, like, what's a good example?
Is it like
the
National
Grace
Christian,
Bible College?
National Christian?
Yeah, National Christian Collegiate Athletic.
Okay.
So Grace Bible College in Grand Rapids, that's NCCAA.
Okay.
So that's like below. But anyways.
But we've talked about it before. The disparity between we've seen the likes of teams like Madonna University, who play in the NAIA, play in the WAC, Siena Heights, teams like that have had success against Division II, Division III, Division I programs where they go in and they don't get their asses kicked, whatever. I mean, there are teams out there that obviously, don't stand a chance. Clearly in this scenario, Alice Lloyd did not measure up. Brevard, by the way, was a preseason poll, leading team. They won the league last year. They fell short in the finals in that tournament. And so this is a team that's obviously really, really good. And you know, they have really good players. And so you're going to face those opponents. The lopsidedness of this game, though, you know, okay, beating a team 6-7 nothing, 7-1, 8-1, right? That's going to happen. But like the 20 to nothing,
10-0 is one thing. Yeah,
that's we have reached out to Brevard. We'd love to get Mark there. I make sure I pronounce it properly. You reached out, right, Ryan, yesterday in regards to the head coach for Brevard?
Yeah, I did.
I think
we're working on it.
We're actually working on getting the head coach on here. His name is Juan Mascaro, so I apologize. Juan Mascaro is the head coach. We're trying to get him on the show. We'd love to talk to him, obviously, about their season, about what they're doing. We don't want to necessarily shine a light on the negative aspect of this, but there is a negative. We talk about this all the time. Is there a negative when you beat a team 20 to nothing? Now, granted, you know, I think from the optics standpoint there is. You know, because there's this argument, right? Do you keep pumping and keep going, or do you start to slow down?
I was a part of a 21 to nothing game back in the day.
You ass.
I was the team that scored
Really?
21. Yeah. So we were in State Cup group stage. We were playing Carpathia Kickers, and it was the first game of our like little round robin. And my coach was like, it was like 9-0 within like the first 9 minutes. And my coach goes, I'm not calling off the dogs. And we just kept scoring. My job as a center defensive midfielder in that game was from my starting spot of when we kick off, all I had to do was run like 20 yards and we'd score another goal. And then I would run back. And then I would run another 20 yards and we'd score another goal. And then I would come back. Like it was fun, but like I've never been on the other end of a 20 to nothing beatdown, so I can't really describe that feeling. But
yeah,
when we were up 20 to nothing, because his whole thing was a part of goal difference, because we had a different team in our group, like we were kind of like battling for as like the number 1 seed coming out of that group, and he knew that it would come down to goal difference, and it actually did. So in the end, it was kind of the smart thing to go to win 21 to nothing, because the goal difference is what took us a step up and then gave us a little bit of an easier spot in the round of 16, which we ultimately won. So in the grand scheme of things, that 21 nothing beatdown in like 2016 was the proper way to do it. But in college, in a regular season game, I think there's probably a limit. But I mean, if it's like a non-conference game or anything like that, I don't think that they ultimately always care. It's kind of like in football when there's like 70 to nothing football game, or in baseball where there's just a bad beatdown where it's a 12-13 run game and they bring in the catcher to come pitch. So there's obviously, I'm sure there's a line, but in the end, I don't think the coaches and players really care that much.
I mean,
we had that last night. We actually had a position player pitch for the opposing team last
awesome,
night. 15 to 2. I love it. Oh my God, it's the greatest. We had a guy strike out because he was just trying to swing as hard as humanly possible. That's why soft toss can sometimes be tough, especially like the slow pitch softball. It's actually hard, guys. It's hard to play slow pitch softball. Anyways, getting away from what I was trying to say. Yeah, that's a good point. And listen, I've been on the receiving and the giving end of that as well. I mean, even playing football in high school, like you just run into teams that are they're bigger, stronger, faster, better, and you just do. And even playing rugby, I mean, hell, we played like a Catholic academy when I was a senior in high school at West Catholic that I think beat us like 60 something to 6 or whatever it was. I don't remember what it was. So that's what I'm saying. Like you play through towards the end, you know, but I don't think they care that much, you know, but at the same time, you know, it's kind of an unwritten rule. I don't know, it's a classy thing to call off the dogs personally, but that's just me.
I mean, there's
the way
something to be said about playing around too, right? Where, you know, you start to get kind of cute and you don't finish. I had this scenario when I was a head coach at a school that we got our butts kicked all the time. And you know, we would go in and we knew that we had like 11 players on the team. So we were always playing either a player down or right at where you needed to be. The talent of the players, we might have had 2 or 3 players that knew how to play soccer. The rest just didn't quite get it, but they wanted to go out there and they wanted to compete. And so you're playing against teams who are way better than you every single game. And yeah, you get smoked. and we came across a team that we were playing against, and they were up like 5 or 6-0, and then they decided to pump the brakes, but do so in a way where they were actually going on breakaways, and instead of going to goal, they were going to the corner flag and like stopping the ball on the corner flag. And I walk over to the coach. We're on the same side. I'm like, Coach, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, we don't want to finish the game yet. I go, but what you're doing is wrong. Like, okay, if you want to, play around with the ball and pass it around and do, that's fine. But don't go to the corner like you're like what's the purpose of that? And he's like, well, my athletic director said we can't mercy teams. I go, well, show us some mercy and mercy us, because that's what you're doing.
Yeah,
is
that's a
worse.
little bit different. Yeah,
like,
that's
and
a little bit different.
that's completely different. But you playing around with the ball and you putting all your bench in, all those things will obviously soften maybe the outcome. But on that day, clearly Brevard way better than Alice Lloyd. For the sake of time, let's move on. Ryan Glinsky this morning, our producer, was here in studio walking in, and notification on his phone. I'm not sure why he's getting this kind of a notification on his phone.
It's from ESPN.
From ESPN. So ESPN made a notification on his phone this morning about this very unique situation taking place across the pond. And we don't typically necessarily maybe go down to this level, but hey, what the heck? Why not? It's pretty cool, right? A 54-year-old goalkeeper has been signed for a game this Saturday night. Look at this. AFC Taunton will have signed Terry Dunn, who last played.
No. Dorking Wanderers have signed him. They're playing. They're setting
AC
to.
Taunton. Thank you. He retired back in 1997. First off, he retired way too soon. That made him 28 years old when he retired. But 1997, that's when he retired. He is going to be playing and starting this weekend for the Dorking Wanderers, which, by the name, we have to talk about that name. That Dorking Wanderer, that's a name right there.
It's a great name.
Is the city in which they reside in actually Dorking? I would imagine it probably has got to be.
I will search that up.
You're going to have to. But this is it. When you see this,
it's marvelous,
right? In itself, it is extraordinary. It is an extraordinary situation.
It's Dorking.
It is the city.
The city is called Dorking.
Okay, so if you grew up in a city called Dorking,
JT's a Dorking. Anyways, keep going.
JT has quit the show.
He's done. All right. See ya, Dorking. Hey, we're all dorkings. That's why we're on this show. I'll just talk to your chair for the rest of the time.
I'm out.
Oh.
I'm out. I'm back. Actually, I'm back.
This is amazing.
It's. We hear these stories like in the NHL where you have like a backup goalkeeper, happen to be like the Zamboni machine operator who they brought in.
Yeah,
because
David
they lost
Ayers.
a player.
I was just about to say that. Emergency goalkeeper.
You hear these stories
Toronto.
and you're like, wow, like this guy, he stopped like three shots and won the game.
They won the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
This to me seems a little more unique because I find it hard to believe that there's not a goalkeeper who's above the age of 18 or even above the age of 16, that matter, 16 to 25, who lives somewhere in and around Dorking. You could have signed.
You can't say that without not making a straight face.
There was definitely another
you can't
dork
wander
in
around
Dorking
Dorking and find a player.
There was another dork in Dorking they could have gotten to be in goal. There's got to be one at least out there.
They could have gone to Loserville down the road.
So I did
Nerdville.
I did some digging, and they said that they have no goalkeepers at the moment, but their goalkeeper that they're bringing in on a loan does not come in till Monday. So they're like, we have to have a goalie. And they're like, all right, let's take this fan that's been supporting us for years, and let's just plop him right in net.
Oh, yeah.
Literally plop him. Literally.
Literally plop him. Literally plop him on net. And I think they said in 7 games they've given up 10 goals. Taunton is 4th in the league, and Dorking is 11th. So we may have to touch on this on
we might have to
Monday.
send Ryan to Dorking with a camera and maybe grab some video because I'm thinking about this.
Good
right?
news.
I mean, there's a scene So these guys, I don't know if it was what school it was, but they did the whole Scott Sterling thing. We've all seen it, I'm imagining, right? And I'm envisioning right now a Scott Sterling moment where this guy is just getting hit and pummeled, hit in the head. We're seeing, I'm just seeing
He's not
this
even
all
saving
weekend.
the ball; it's just bouncing off his head.
Oh
Hey,
man!
good news.
Good
news.
Good for
If
him.
you still want to play in the NFL, JT, good news. Just show up to so many games and make yourself known. And if everyone gets hurt, you might get a chance to maybe go out there and play quarterback for a half.
Yeah, you could have played for the Lions last year on defense.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
you could have been a defensive back.
Could've been
or
a
something.
linebacker.
I remember the scene of the
Yeah.
Water Boy where Michigan tried to get their towel boy into the game.
Oh, yes.
Michigan and murdered. It's just it's an interesting story. I'm curious how it's going to shape up. And again, good
awesome.
for. Good for this man. I think it's cool. I find it very interesting, and I find it interesting that you can't find a U16 player who's within. But hey, it also got us talking about it. Which again, if you're trying to get people to come to your games and get them into the seats, what do? You
sign a 50-some-year-old gold.
you sign a
goaltender.
54-year-old and put him in net and see what happens. I mean, I want to know when the last time he touched the ball.
Unbelievable.
Is that in the article?
Well,
No, it's not. He did say though, he goes, goalkeeping is like riding a bike, so he's not going to lose a step at all. So he thinks he's capable of keeping a clean sheet.
he might lose an Achilles. He might lose an Achilles or an
Goalkeeping
ACL.
is like riding a bike.
but he
As
won't
a
lose
former
a step.
goalkeeper of 20 years, I can tell you that goalkeeping is not like riding a bike. Okay.
You think you could go out there and do it right now, JT?
Huh?
Could you step into that spot if they signed you?
No.
So their average attendance for a Dorking Wanderers game last season was 2,000 fans.
That's pretty good.
So I don't
for a
know
club
what their
that size,
capacity
heck yeah.
is.
They're going to have 5,000.
I kinda wanna
now
see what
and a
this pitch
national
looks like.
audience.
Yeah.
International audience paying attention. I mean, they're going to have I'm telling you-
3,000. So they're gonna sell out to 3,000. 2,000 for 3,000.
Well, this guy's
Pretty good.
family is going to show up, and his grandkids are all going to be there.
Oh, people are going to show up. Yeah. People are going to show up to see this. No doubt about it.
And
is
whatever place he works at, they're showing up.
It's a
Hell
very
yeah.
interesting moment for sure. And we'll keep an eye on it. We have
Man.
to. Ryan will make a TikTok about the outcome of that game tomorrow.
We're gonna touch on it Monday for sure.
The NFL kicked off last night, and as we expected, the Eagles are the Eagles, and they ultimately won last night. I think the final score was 24-20. Very interesting game, especially how the game started. I was actually sitting last night in Buffalo Wild Wings while this game had just started, and we immediately are seeing the likes of Jalen Carter being ejected for spitting on Dak Prescott. And my question right now
Something about
is-
Georgia players.
my question right now to both of you is: are we going to be seeing a trend in professional sports here with the loogie, heard around the world? I mean, I don't understand what's going on right now where we are spitting at people. It doesn't seem like this is a normal thing, but over the last week, we've seen 2 professional players spitting at each other on the field.
Why do things happen in twos too? I feel like
I
if
thought it
one
was
thing
threes.
It's supposed to be
They're all
threes, but
threes.
for me, it's always been
All right.
twos.
Well, if you watch the replay, watch it again from the angle behind Jalen Carter. Dak spits first. Now, I don't know if he spits at the feet of him and then Carter spits on him, but I guess that's technically 3 spits if we want to count 3. But anyways, yeah, I don't – and that quickly into the game too, like right away. What are we doing? Why spitting? Like, I don't get that. Like, if you want to talk. If you want to get in someone's face, whatever. But like spitting is just, it's just so bush league. I don't know. It's the exact thing that I thought after the Luis Suarez incident. I was like, I don't know. This is not anything that I would do. This is lame. But yeah, no, the Eagles won. I got Saquon Barkley on my team. He didn't get me many points, but he got me some. He got me moving in the right direction. So I think we'll be all right.
I'll say I think Dak Prescott knew that Jalen Carter's a hothead, And it was like, I'm going to take him off somehow. And Jalen Carter is an integral piece on that defensive line at stopping the run. And Dak Prescott was, all right, well, I'm right by this guy. I'll try to get him ejected somehow. Probably said something about his family, spit on him. And then second guy always gets caught. It's always the second guy that always gets caught.
Yes.
And I don't know what Kirby Smart's doing in Georgia and the type of players that they're having, because they always seem to get in trouble. But in the end, the Eagles still win. And they had that rain delay, so I didn't even stay up to watch the end of it because of the rain delay. But I mean, you got to kind of give Dak. I don't want to give the Cowboys credit because I never liked the Cowboys, but like, kind of got to give them credit on this one for Dak Prescott knowing
He looked good.
he didn't look bad, especially with the whole Micah Parsons trade. But got to give credit to Dak Prescott. To answer your question, I thought since after the days of COVID, everyone would be like, let's not spit, let's not touch anyone, let's not spit on anyone, let's not do any of that. That doesn't seem to be the case. And we got grown adults just spitting on people. I thought that was a thing that was probably cut real quick in like first or second grade. But I really hope this isn't a trend, because it's just dumb. Like, if you're going to get ejected from a game, like, do something kind of like, go down swinging or do something. Like, don't spit. Like, that's so childish.
Yeah. It's so petty too. But that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I mean, Dak being a vet, he understands. He understands what he has to do. And if he's going to get in the face of Jalen Carter, there are loose cannons. I mean, that Georgia's just kind of
Dak did explain
culture,
himself
but
after the game. He explained that he had, he turned to spit and realized that there was a player right next to him, and then him and Carter had some words. At which point, while those words were taking place, he said he got spit on. So
he's just saying that.
Oh, of course. I mean, we've talked about just recently talked about this. If you're a coach, you are coaching your players, and captains and leadership are coaching other players to find ways, creative ways, to get players to off the field. Yes, at the end of the day, you want to beat the best teams by playing the best teams, right? That's how yes, you have a bragging rights. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you also want to win. So winning can come in a lot of different ways. It can come in cheap. It can come in and just outplaying somebody. If you know a player doesn't have composure and has a lack of composure, like Ndamukong Suh, per example, that no composure. He could not control himself in big time moments. And so, what would you do if you were a player? You do stupid stuff to get him to do something. And when he did, everyone kept an eye on him because he was the guy who was getting in trouble. So he would get ejected from games. I mean, it's to be fair, it's the right way to go if you're an excellent player trying to get players off the field. So I don't look down at Dak for trying to do that. Obviously, if he spit at him and hit him, that's a whole other level, which he would have to pay the price for as well. So, but I, as you were saying and alluded to, I do not like the fact that we are talking about players spitting on each other. We talked about, again, I think that there's a way that this can be handled, and we've talked about that I think that spitting is the equivalent. And again, by law it is, because if I go and spit at someone in the street, it's considered assault. And so whether I punch or spit are created the same way. And to be fair, I would argue that spitting might create more harm than a punch could in some cases, especially if you are carrying something that you shouldn't carry. Right? So I think that that's something that's important to say. But I don't like this one bit. I'm hopeful that we will see the end of it in the news here very quickly. But the NFL did kick off last night, and the Eagles, the reigning world champions, won 24-20. When we come back, we are going to dive into the U.S. men's national team and their South Korea matchup here tomorrow night. That and more on the other side of the break. You're watching Inside the Game.
Experience the thrill of the game like never before with NSN's Game Rewind.
Dive into full match commentaries enhanced with cutting-edge dynamic graphics,
letting you relive the highs and lows of your favorite matches in astonishing detail.
Whether it's a championship win or a legendary play,
NSN Game Rewind bridges the past and future with a broadcast experience designed to captivate.
Call 586-304-4405
and start watching today.
Welcome back into Inside the Game. Noah Drury actually asking some questions here in our on our YouTube channel. He asking how much is the one game contract? I don't believe is he getting paid? The goalkeeper?
Oh, Mike's muted. I would imagine that he's getting paid.
I think in Dorking they pay you in beer.
That's
pay you in 5 gum.
That's a fair currency.
And also, Noah also said Jalen Carter is the same guy racing at 100 miles per hour after the national championship game. So, curious though, was he spitting it out the window same time?
Probably. I mean, I don't know. Landing on the person's
window. We are going to dive into this U.S. men's national team matchup here again tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, 5 p.m. on TNT at Sports Illustrated Stadium. And, we have a question today that will revolve around this as well. We'll get into that, obviously, towards the end of the show. We've been talking all week about this. We've been talking about the U.S. men's national team. You even alluded to here on Tuesday, I wish this game was today, right? So we're excited to see how this team has progressed since the Gold Cup and how they're going to fare in a number of different facets here tomorrow. The question I have right now for both of you is we've talked about winning. Okay. Winning is great, and winning is a byproduct of playing well and playing as a team. If we win tomorrow but do so in an unorthodox way, is that good or bad for this team? If we win tomorrow, we win the way we want to win, which is through possession and through, good ball movement, set pieces, whatever you want to have it, hard work, all those things. Is that better for us than, hey, we get a cheap goal in the 90th minute, or a laxity, it's an own goal? What does it matter? I mean, do those things matter more? Does the outcome matter? What is the most important thing about tomorrow?
Winning is one component of it, but it's a big component. And when you talk about it, Mauricio Pochettino and his track record with this national team, and again, this has been a country in the United States that consistently has not beaten top 30 teams. Outside of Mexico, like we talked about, we are not a nation that consistently does that. And Mauricio Pochettino has yet to get one win against a top 30 nation. Again, what happened the last time we faced a top 30 team? It was Switzerland. We got blanked 4-0 before the Gold Cup. So winning is definitely one part of it. And I don't think there's any problem with having an expectation to win, but it goes deeper than that. That's just one component of it. And I think everybody kind of understands that. The next component is, what do the different positions look like? How do the different players play together? How do they fit? How do we attack Korea? Are we playing on the front foot? Are we creating opportunities? Are we playing fast? Or are we playing the brand of ball that we saw during the Nations League, during the Gold Cup? Well, really during the Nations League, when they had a lot of their mainstays who were in the lineup, and they were playing a possession-based game. They're moving the ball around, but they didn't do anything with it. And all of a sudden, one late counterattack by Panama. Canada is just advantageous. They end up putting up a couple on us, and we lose those games. Is it that brand that we see, or is it a different brand that we see? And then breaking it down beyond that, how did the individual players look? How does the goalkeeping situation look? Again, you said Matt Turner's our guy, but he's not here. So how do the options that we do have, how do they look? Because that's a big question mark, and you talked about it. If there's one thing that this country has done well, it's produced goaltenders. For the longest time, we knew who our goalie was going to be. And I still think that's Matt Turner, but how do the other guys look? Are they able to defend well? There's so many different question marks and so many different variables when it comes to this U.S. men's national team that step one is winning. And even if it's cheap or it's late, it still counts in my mind because it's not a bad side. I mean, we're going to play a lot of really good teams leading up to the World Cup, including a 2-time World Cup champion in Uruguay. So there's going to be a lot of tests, and this is just test number one. So if you win, that's one component of it. That proves you can beat a top 30 team. Then what is everything else after that? How does Pulisic look? How, Josh Sargent, is he into form on the international side? Again, the goalie situation, substitution patterns, who's on the field, who works well together. All of those things will come to light here in game one.
When when we look at this, at what this is all about, and I've talked about this, you're trying to solidify your roster. That's what these friendlies are about. As much as it is about outcomes, you're trying to solidify who are the fringe players, right? That's what you're trying to determine right now. This is no different than a preseason where all you see in the NFL for 4 straight preseason games is a bunch of players you've never heard of before, right? Why? Because they're trying to figure out who's going to make the 53-man roster plus their practice squad. And it's a unique thing because in the international realm, all you have are friendlies. Now, if you look at it from the standpoint of qualification, you don't have the luxury in qualification to do that, right? It's the equivalent of playing in a season, right? You're playing for a chance to go on to another tournament, right? So you have to do well. So you can't really play the quote-unquote experiment in that environment. But in this environment, you can. And so, so Pochettino right now is bringing in players who he believes will have a fighting chance or should have a fighting chance to make the 26-man roster coming up here later this year, late in the next year. And so when I look at this, winning is always something that we expect. And I don't think any of us will ever say that winning is not an outcome that we want. But the most important thing is, if there are players who have a fighting chance, they better be on the freaking field. Like Diego Luna, for example, who you talked about.
Yeah.
Like Luna,
Yeah.
if Luna is going to be given, if Luna has a chance, he has to be on the field. Like Pulisic already on the team. Okay, we can go through the list of players. Adams on the team, McKennie on the team, Weah on the team, right? Sargent on the team. Those players are on the team already, right? We don't have to go any further with them, right? Who else is on the team already? And again, we've already obviously gone through what we consider our mock. Balogun on the team already, right? And so who are the players who are not? Well, Luna, he is not on the team yet. No. And he is an outsider looking in. Mm-hmm. And so what he has to do tomorrow and what he has to do the next 2 days is he has to go out there and outperform. That's what he has to do and show what he can do on the field. Now, he did that during the Gold Cup when he was the guy, but now he's got a supporting cast of other players who are better than him. And so that's what we need to see. We need to see these fringe players. We need to see them step up. And we need to see him step up with the likes of a Pulisic on the field. How is Pulisic going to help connect with a Luna? How is Pulisic going to connect with a Balogun? How is Pulisic going to connect with these other players who we haven't seen before in these environments? So this is the true test. So for me tomorrow, I want to see the combination play between the players who are currently the best players on this team with the players who are the fringe players, because that will let us know where we really are. And hopefully it leads to goals. And historically, when we played against South Korea, I think we played them in total 7 times. 2 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws. That's our record against this team. And so, the last time I think we saw them was a 1-1 draw in the 2002 World Cup and a 2-0 USA win back in 2014. So that's the last time I think we saw them, was in 2014. So yes, we want to win tomorrow. But I want to see these fringe players. I want to see how they perform and how they combine, how they connect, and how they interact with players. What did they do? What their confidence level? They put their head down after a bad pass. Do they keep fighting? And that's the telltale sign. That's what coaches look for in these moments too, Nate, is like, for a perfect example, right, in baseball, you hit a routine grounder, right, to shortstop, right? Does the guy run it out, or does he kind of like half-ass it? Well, if you're a prospect, you're running that thing out, man. You're running the shit out of that. Yeah. If you're a guy who's already been on the team for 4 years and you're leading the league in home runs, you're not going to sprint that thing down. Why would you do that? You're already there. But the guy who wants to be there, he's going to sprint his ass off down the line. That's what we want to see tomorrow. We want to see the guy who loses the ball and tracks back and gets the ball back and helps lead the team, U.S. into a transitional moment where they can maybe go down and score a goal. That's what we want to see tomorrow. And I'm hopeful that's what we'll see a ton of that. And I think, Ryan, you might agree with me on that as well. I don't know. I'm just an analyst over here. So.
Agree with what? Sorry. I was looking for the dude's contract. I can't find it.
Wow, he didn't pay attention to a word I said. That's okay. No,
We are connecting and combining with the fringe players and the Pulisic's of the world.
No, I'm just saying, while winning is important
Just
tomorrow, the more important part is identifying who are the supporting cast to our, yeah.
I would say that for sure is definitely one of them. But I think what everyone wants to see, though, at the same time, is those bigger pieces also, like, kind of, be out there in care, because we didn't see them for a whole Gold Cup this summer. We didn't see that. And we only have probably under 10 games as a group to build some cohesiveness, some continuity before the World Cup. And I mentioned yesterday, I do not want to see us get embarrassed on the national or international stage in front of everyone in a tournament that we host. And I know everyone in the world wants to see America struggle, because this is the one sport in the world that we truly struggle in. And even in the women's game, we don't struggle as often. We have, I believe there's 3. Yeah, we have 4 World Cups because 2019's not on there. But we need to build something. We need to have an identity, and we need a key win in this generation. I know Nate has mentioned it a couple of times. We need that marquee, that key win. And I'm not saying Korea or Japan is going to be that marquee win. But if we can, that can kind of set the bar and kind of set our expectations going into what we want in the World Cup and what we're expecting. To be honest, right now, this is what I'm expecting for the World Cup for the U.S. It's just get out of the group. That's all that's so sad, because we just did that. In the 3 World Cups I've watched, 2010, 2014, and 22, we've all made out of the group. And the bar should be higher, but it's not, because we've struggled so much since 2022. If anything, we've just gone on the decline. So what I need to see out of this game tomorrow and Tuesday, which I'm sure we'll touch on Monday as well, is just show an identity, show that you care, and build something with this September camp, and then get on to the next one in October.
Oh, it's a great point.
I was just going to say I 100% agree with that. And you can do – truth is you can do both. You can go out and be flashy and win the game, and also try different things out and try different players out. Hopefully if they're bought in, it shouldn't affect anything. You should be able to go out and win. And I know that there are fringe players that we have to try out and figure out who exactly deserves to be on the field in the World Cup, because there's no bigger honor. Like I said, the only bigger honor than that is doing it on your home soil. So there is room to do both of that. So again, it's just how they mesh, how they play together, all of that. What does it look like?
The projected starting 11 here tomorrow for U.S. men's national team: Matt Freese in goal, Sergino Dest, Richards, Ream, Arfston, Tyler Adams, De La Torre, Tim Weah, Diego Luna, Pulisic, and Balogun. Sargent might be one to start as well, but that's the projected starting 11 for tomorrow against the Republic of South Korea. So that game kicks off tomorrow night at 5 p.m. On TNT, HBO Max, and Peacock. You can watch it live in person at Sports Illustrated Stadium in Rutherford, New Jersey? So yeah. When we come back, we're going to dive into we got some TikTok and some shorts and things that we got comments on. We'll dive into some of those here this morning, and then we'll do the question of the day. So don't go anywhere. You're watching Inside the Game here on the National Soccer Network.
Are you ready to create unforgettable moments for your audience? NSN offers professional live streaming and full broadcast services tailored to your needs.
From high-quality production to exceptional coverage,
We ensure your game or event becomes a spectacle to remember. Book your next game with us today.
call 586-304-4405 to schedule your broadcast.
And let NSN bring the action to life like never before.
Welcome back here into Inside the Game. John Turner alongside Nate Wangler and our producer Ryan Glinsky. It's Friday. Before we dive into our mailbag segment, I do want to do this. 17 years ago, tomorrow, I had the privilege of watching my oldest, Brianna, be born. And I remember it very vividly. It was a kind of a cloudy day in September. I remember also the University of Michigan were playing at the same time.
Oh,
And so, but yeah, she celebrates her 17th birthday tomorrow. Yesterday, she swam in her first swim meet of the season. Her team did win last night over Warren Cuzno in their matchup. So congrats to her on that. They have this thing where when it's your
Yeah.
they have this thing where when you swim when it's your birthday, they have like your swim off, but you literally go down a lane and they have both teams come out and they just start splashing you while you're swimming on your own. It's a pretty cool thing. She had a chance to do that yesterday. Obviously a whole bunch of birthday things happened this weekend. Last year, she celebrated her 16th birthday, and I was in the hospital for a week. And it was I was like tonight is the night that I checked myself into Troy Beaumont last year due to complications with my diabetes. And I stayed there for a week, and I was there missing her birthday. So this year, knock on wood, I get through tonight without having to do any of that and tomorrow. But a happy birthday to Brianna, who's a big part not only of obviously of my life as my daughter, but also a part of our company. She has been a part of almost 2,500 broadcasts here with the National Soccer Network.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, Brianna. She turns 17 here tomorrow.
She is.
happy birthday!
Woo! Happy birthday. She's
So,
a
yeah,
grinder.
so,
she gets after it.
Huh?
Yeah, happy birthday. She's a grinder. She gets after it. Every time I'm over there, she's in the heart of everything that's going on. She's working on all the different stuff, getting us set up. So, no, yeah, none of this would be remotely possible or as possible without her hard work. So that's from me personally, Brianna, thank you so much for everything you've done, because you've done great work, and you've put me in some really good spots as well. All of us in really good spots. So happy birthday. Deserved. Good things are coming for sure.
Let's dive into some mailbag segment here. Some comments coming in from TikTok or our YouTube Shorts. What do we got here, Ryan?
Yeah, we got a couple. So I did a video a couple days ago about shortly after right after our show, if we should hit the panic button. So I basically made a video that if we struggle, we should hit the panic button as the U.S. men's national team. And Mickey Moo Moo said that I feel like we haven't had a true identity as a national team in 20 years. I said I agree to that.
Oh, 20 years though. I mean, maybe I don't know if 20 is the right number, but I think that specifically in the last half decade, we could argue that 2018 was an interesting year for this country, right? Because we were not able to play in the World Cup, and because of that, we lost an opportunity, momentum to help grow this game even more. That was a huge misstep for this country, a huge misstep for Pulisic. Right, because if Pulisic plays in that World Cup, he now has 2 World Cups under his belt, not just one. And now coming into this World Cup, we're putting him on this pedestal and raising him up and saying, "Hey, we expect you to do more." So I think that's an important thing, to state. But I think the identity issue has been. We could argue it's been, I think, tumultuous, and it hasn't been. But I would say that the last 10 years for sure have been very difficult.
I would disagree, and here's why. I think the 2022 team had an identity. I think the teams during those early 2020 years did have an identity. They were routinely winning Nations League finals. They were routinely winning Gold Cups. They were routinely beating Mexico. And I remember going into that 22 World Cup, and obviously after all that went down and they got bounced out after getting out of the group stage, we all kind of looked around at each other and went, okay, like there are signs of life to U.S. soccer. We have a young group. We have a scrappy group. We have a team that has won meaningful games. Yeah, they only drew against England, and that's probably their biggest mark. That's probably their biggest badge. But they're a little bit older now. You know, they showed us in that moment. I remember talking to people being like, okay, 2026 is going to be the real test, because we've seen that the crop of players that are coming up now, you know, and it starts with Christian Pulisic kind of leading that group, is a lot better than past generations. They're more skilled, they're faster, they're stronger. They maybe have been lacking that culture component, but I think sometimes with the recent struggles we've had, and again, I know how big recency bias is in sports, with how bad they've been doing recently, it's easy to kind of overreact and be like, yeah, you know, X amount of time we haven't had an identity in forever. But I think that's an overreaction. I think in 22 and I think in those early 2020 years, especially after 2018, to get back into it the way that we did, there was a resurgence. I think there was an identity to that team and to those teams. The problem is that when we fall flat on our face in the Nations League and we fall flat on our face against Mexico in the Gold Cup final, and you have the documentary and you have the drama and you have players opting out, you combine all of that and it leads to these overreactions that we see, like that comment there. I do think that is an overreaction, but can we find that spark again? And that's why tomorrow and that's why Tuesday are really important, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys. Next question in the mailbag, same TikTok video. Pochettino, or from user 6928, Pochettino is a joke and players became divas. Same goes for Mexico. Terrible.
Yeah, I think Pochettino is used to a dynamic of player and culture and personality from other countries. And so I think managing a locker room is one of the most difficult things a coach can do. And I think that if you look at it from the perspective like this, that if we took an NFL coach who's, you know, like pick any one of them and send them across the pond to an NFL team, a new team, a new league, whatever, and say, go coach this team, there'd be a learning curve and a culture curve, and it wouldn't work. The Dan Campbell in Detroit would not work in new NFL whatever team in England. So I think it's an important thing to state. So there's a balancing act there. I don't blame Pochettino for that at all. What I do blame him for is that, again, the biggest challenge that he has right now, as much as it is about identity and about all that, is player selection and understanding and identifying the talent. I also think that he's on some level being political about his responses to the MLS, as if somehow the MLS is more relevant than what it is. And it's not the case. I think he's doing that because he's being told by U.S. Soccer to do that. So that's a political thing. I don't think that's what Pochettino's all about. I don't agree with that. And I think that the players can see through that shit too. You know, I think that they can read that. They're like, come on, really, dude? Like, you're going to sit here and tell me that the MLS is more competitive than a lot of leagues across the pond? Like, come on, guy. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Let's get back to normal talk here, right? So I think there's some of that he's trying to figure out, but that would be where I think the biggest challenge is.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. I mean, I listen, Mauricio Pochettino's seen more soccer than I mean, he's seen more leagues, he's been in more places than any of us. So I think what he said was objectively true, just from my opinion. But when it comes down to everything else that you said in terms of, you know, the players being divas, yeah, I mean, it's a completely different world over here. And he was plopped into a completely different world. And that's why we had those conversations earlier on in our podcast about, you know, did the U.S. miss out on an opportunity to get someone who was from the United States, who understands what this all looks like, who understands that it's kind of the Wild West out here in the U.S. And you have a lot of talented players, yes, but we're fractured. They're all over the place. They are playing in every corner of the world. And so how do you create a team that goes out and wins consistently or has any sort of culture or baseline common purpose if they're playing in all of these different places? I mean, I don't envy anybody who takes – it sounds like the worst job in sports to be the head coach of the U.S. men's national soccer team. That sounds like the worst job in sports.
Nah,
and outside of that, okay, well, one of the worst. I mean, it has to be. But, you know, because you take none of the credit, but you're going to get all the blame for when you try to piecemeal something together and you're not able to go out and win big-time games because people look at you and they're like, well, you're the United States. You should be winning big-time games. You should be collecting trophies. Why aren't you? The immense amount of pressure for someone who, again, came from the school of soccer in Argentina and who's been around the game in the biggest parts of the world where the game stands alone. It's a completely different story. So, no, I agree. I agree with that part. And, yes, there are worse jobs in coaching, but I imagine that his spot is probably not one of the easiest.
Yeah, and then I got 2 on 1. This one just, like, pisses me off, but I'm just going to go over it briefly. We don't have to talk about it. But this one is from Shut It. And Shut It probably should not have commented. Everyone is panicking, but most people don't know the host country always qualifies for the World Cup. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know. Yep.
So shut it. Like, shut it. Like, everyone knows that. And then, where's the last one? This is the last one. This one is from Aztec_gear. Not getting out of the group stage at Copa America should have been the biggest red flag ever.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look. That's for sure.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
I think it's important to say this. We just talked about this in regards to the preseason, right? About the NFL, about how for 4 weeks you don't see anyone of any level of talent that you're going to see. Basically, the NFL has changed, right? You used to see players, and what we saw was players tearing ACLs and breaking legs, and well, now you lose a player for the entire season. It makes no sense. So you don't play anybody anymore. Now, there's good about that, which is you keep players healthy. The bad part is your team isn't on the same wavelength, right? And the continuity, the cohesiveness that you would typically have going into your first game of the season now takes you 2 or 3 games in, right? And that's what we see now with the NFL. And so in soccer, the continuity and cohesiveness is a real thing. And you might not think it is, but it is 100% a real thing. And so if you aren't playing with players that you play with all the time, you are not on the same page. And when you're not on the same page, you miss passes, you don't connect, you don't combine, you don't move forward in transition. There's a lot of things that happen and that don't happen. And so for me, while I appreciate the fact that this guy is saying what he's saying to an extent, because I think it's still dumb to say the way he said it, but at the end of it, the part I have a problem with, which is, well, they're taking a break because we're already qualified. Well, no. Like, we don't get them a free pass because we've already qualified. That's a bullshit response. Our response to all of this should be, we need to be preparing because this is our chance. This is our moment. If we had Herb Brooks right now sitting in the locker room, he'd be saying, this is our moment. This is our time. They had their time.
That's what
this
you
is our
earned
time
here today.
That's what we need right now,
boys.
So, yeah. Anyway, so that's my perspective.
So we need more players from Massachusetts and Minnesota.
That's
is what
right.
You're telling me.
Who are willing to fill out the survey or not willing to fill out the survey.
Go
I want the guy who didn't fill out the survey. That's what I want.
Get on the line.
Man. What is our question of
the
the
day?
day?
You want Poach to be having them run suicides after they lose? Until they throw up and they shut the lights off? Again. Poach, someone's going to get hurt, man. We can't keep doing this. Again.
I play for the My name's Christian Pulisic. I play for the U.S. men's national team. Hershey, Pennsylvania.
And Detroit, Michigan.
Gio Reyna, Sunderland, England.
You got the goalies who are trailing behind like, finish.
All right, question of the day. But, of course, before we get into it, Salt Athletic, an official sponsor of us here at NSN. Save 15% by using promo code NSN15. And also visit saltathletic.com today or just scan that QR code. But question of the day. Question of the day. Does the U.S. men's national team beat South Korea tomorrow night?
Go ahead, Nate.
You waiting on me? Oh, boy. You know what? I am, since it is a friendly, I'm going to go 1-1 draw.
Oh,
ooh.
God damn.
Let's go 1-1 draw. I'm going to go, we're going to get an early one, like 10 minutes in, and then we're not going to score the remainder of the match, and South Korea is going to bang one in like the 80th minute, and we're going to draw at 1-1.
Okay.
It's my official prediction. Lots of chances, lots of fun, lots of excitement. I think Matt Freese has a good game. It's my hope.
So we're putting in predictions. So you're saying, yeah, you're so your answer is
that's
no,
what I thought
they
this
do
was.
not win tomorrow, and it's a 1-1 dry.
But they don't
1-1 draw.
lose too. But they don't lose.
They don't lose.
Okay,
That's fair.
That's the important part.
Okay,
We just
so
leave.
here's my thing. Tomorrow night they're going to win. As a matter of fact, they're going to win both games.
Heck
here.
yeah.
They're going to win both
Let's
games.
go.
Yeah. Saturday and
Yes.
Tuesday, they're winning both. They're going 2-0. All right?
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking on Wednesday about how this team outperformed what we thought they were because they've got this chip on their shoulder right now. All these people yelling and screaming about how bad they are, and they're pissed off.
USA.
And then we all woke up on Tuesday night.
USA.
USA. USA.
And then we all woke up from our dream.
Do you have like an eagle screech on there, Ryan? You gotta get like an
no,
eagle
I believe
screech on there.
No.
Or a hawk
They're going to win both games. I'm going to go with both games.
we need to add that. though.
Tomorrow they win by a score of 2-1. And then on Tuesday
All right.
they win by a score of 3-0.
What?
Ooh. All right. I
Yeah.
love the positivity that's just radiating from you today. What
I'm really
the heck
positive
are
today
you
because
on?
yesterday I got back
I
2
want
games
it.
on Ryan.
Yeah, in FIFA. That was brutal.
Really?
Yeah, I got back 2 games on Ryan. It's now 3-2
My
with our
man's
current tally. So I'm
My
I was
man's
really
been
excited about that.
practicing, Ryan. He's gone into a dark room and he was playing all day yesterday. He's
He
practicing.
took that one he was running suicides. John Turner.
My wife was like,
the
again,
parking lot.
again. I kept going.
John Turner. National Soccer Network. Where are you from, by the way?
Your mom. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm gonna go since JT knows that I am king of score predictions. He knows I'm king of score predictions, right? Don't you? I'm going to go. I agree with Nate. Early goal. It's going to be Christian Pulisic. Early goal. And he's going to do this. He's going to shush everyone. But after that, it's just going to go downhill. We're going to lose 2-1.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So we've covered all of our bases. Hey.
We're going to lose 2-1, and then we'll regroup, and then we'll talk about Japan on Monday and Tuesday. So we'll see what happens.
We will put these. I will make graphics for these predictions here.
2-1, and we actually have to create a graphic on our score predictions as the year goes on. But 2-1, Korea.
Wow.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Hey, man.
Well, there you go. Well, you heard it from
our
from
bases
Mr.
covered.
Ryan there that they're going to lose tomorrow. Nate said they're going to draw. I said that they're going to win. So win, lose, or draw. We have it.
Someone's gonna be right. Someone's gonna be right.
Well, we've definitely guaranteed ourselves that unless the game has been canceled, we did not. There's a bad storm comes through.
Someone's
going to
look like a genius
We
at the
have
end of the
guaranteed
day.
everything.
Oh, well, hey, we appreciate everybody stopping by here on this Friday. That wraps up another week here, another episode of Inside the Game, 152 officially in the books. Be back at it here next week. We've got a great lineup of guests coming your way here next week. We'll put them on the screen here now. Coming up here, again, next week, we've got the head coach of number 5 ranked NC State men's soccer. Mark Hubbard will join us next week. Daniel Panisi from Veo will join us. They are a great partner of ours in regards to the AI technology. And then Bobby Muss, Wake Forest men's head soccer coach, will join us as well. So we've got a great lineup of guests coming up here next week. We are still trying to book additional guests as well, so we'll keep you updated about that. But those are the ones we've got locked and loaded, and we're excited to bring those to you here next week on Inside the Game. But for Nate Wangler and Ryan Glinsky, I'm Jonathan Turner. Have a great rest of your weekend. Happy birthday, Brianna, and we'll see you next week here, same time, same place on Inside the Game. From the biggest matches to the hottest takes, Jonathan Turner and Nathan Wenger bring you the stories, the analysis, and the edge you won't get anywhere else. Streaming live weekdays at 9 a.m. on YouTube, Roku TV, Facebook, Twitter, and all major platforms. No filters, no fluff, just real talk, real soccer. This is Inside the Game.